some sketchy shit. Do-da, do-da, hope I get away with it. Oh, do-da, day.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield, and this is Last Man Standing. As I said in the description of the show, no stupid o'clock tonight, so we decided to usurp their time slot, and that way everybody gets a chance to go to bed on time when the show is over. Um, been a rough week. Family stuff is not going entirely well. 13-year-old grandson wound up in the hospital with some cardiac problems because of all his prenatal health lack of care. And he's doing okay now. His mom is taking care of him as best he can. My 36-year-old grandson seems to have given up. So that's not going to be a happy time for me. He's um, at his girlfriend's house, refusing dialysis with about 20% heart function. So, refusing dialysis, he's probably got a week, maybe two. I don't know. If his mom can talk some sense into him, um, I will be infernally grateful. But I just don't know. I don't know. I'm getting by as best I can. But that's enough uncheerful news. Let's bring on tonight's guests, and we do have a full house. Got John Scarborough, Joe Bachman, Uncle Carl. Scroll down, Aunt Donna. We've got Thesis in the background. Oh, there he is. So yeah, we've got Kitty in the chat. Yeah, Thessaly said she couldn't stay for the show, but she wanted to say hi to everybody and catch up.
I wanted to point something out because I didn't know it until tonight. Thessaly is studying to be a nurse. She's doing the CNA course, and that's why she's not with us at the moment. Is she's studying for big tests this weekend? So
Yeah, and evidently it is the accelerated course, so she has to get it done in a hurry. We've got Mr. Sterling in the chat as well. So hey, the lodge is tiled.
hi, Donna.
Oh,
You're looking exceptionally lovely tonight.
Carl, watch that
Oh,
man. He has
uh-oh.
designs.
Well, I can't hear Donna. Donna, we can't hear you, honey. Or I can't. I can't hear Carl either.
How's that?
Oh, now I
That's better.
hear Donna. And Carl, say something. Nope, can't hear Carl either.
You're not muted on my screen, so it's got to be on your. I bet a cat crawled behind the computer again.
And Thesis is sending us a dog tail.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, John, I said you're looking especially devious tonight, and that's how I like it.
Thank you, Mr. Sterling.
Yeah, I've got gardening to do, and we had rain all day today. Not that I'm complaining about the rain, but it does. I don't like repotting plants while it's pouring rain down on my neck.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get too far, I'd like to ask Donna why those white things are on her headphones.
She was in the British Navy.
Brand new earphones, but the coverings are very, very new and stiff and a little painful.
Okay.
So I wrap them in gauze until I can get them broken in. And I think it's an especially cool look.
It's a Princess Leia look, but...
Oh, stay out of my head, Carl.
This group.
The British military, the British Navy in particular, has, we used to jokingly call them earphone condoms. They were like little disposable cups.
Yeah.
That way you didn't get your ear diseases on the next guy that followed you on.
Oh, but, yeah, because it was what, 3 shifts?
At minimum 2, as much as 4.
The last thing you want to do is get an ear disease.
Especially if your job requires
to
listen to sonar, radios, or whatever. So.
I just heard Lindsay let the door. My door is not shut because I've got the headphones on. She can't hear us.
Wow.
And unless I start talking loud, she won't hear me. But I just heard her let the dog out in between rainstorms, which...
Who let the dog out? Woof, woof, woof.
Evidently, Lindsay. Yeah.
I was going to tell Thessaly. I was hoping I thought she was going to be here, but we were talking about studying for tests, and I have never been a terribly studious student my entire life. But I'm good at remembering things. Just I hate sitting in classrooms and being bored to tears. So I had to go to this class for the military. It was a basic NCO course, BNOC. Phase 1. Phase 1 for our unit just happened to be at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And there's only 2 ways to get through this class for me. 1, lots of coffee. And 2, I cannot remember things unless I'm doing something with my hands. Yeah, it's just an odd thing. So if taking notes, taking notes or doodling in the edges of the paper. If you look at every piece of paper I've ever had in the military, there's doodles down the sides of the papers. So I'm sitting in this class and I'm listening to all these lectures and stuff. And I pulled out my Swiss Army knife and I had some 5x8 cards for taking notes, or 3x5 cards for taking notes. And I start drawing doodles on a piece of paper. I start drawing all the military vehicles that I am familiar with. And I start drawing them in 3D. So top, left side, right side, like a drafting schematic kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sugar that I bought for everyone to put sugar in their coffee to give them a little extra energy to stay awake. Right?
I assume you meant that's the brand and not the actual coffee
Yes.
or actual sugar.
It could be. They last forever.
Mm-hmm.
May not taste the same, but it'll last.
Just don't get it wet.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what she said.
You beat me to it, Donna.
But she likes it wet. Did I say that?
I would hope so.
While John's looking for his sugar.
Oh, no. I just want to show you all this.
Oh, okay.
This is the little M113 armored personnel carrier that I cut out of paper
Ooh.
while I'm sitting in this class. And I put it up on the corner of my desk. And the people sitting next to me thought it was cute. And then, so I went on the next one. Here's the little Humvee
Oh, wow.
that I cut out of paper and had sitting on my
Nice.
desk. And let me see. They're kind of demented, but okay. This is the M1 Abrams that I made out of paper. Oh, let's see if I can get it.
Management and balance.
And had sitting
Very
on the
cool.
corner of my desk. Okay. And they've been beaten up because they've traveled a lot. This is the Bradley fighting vehicle that I had sitting on the corner. I had a motor pool going on the front edge of my desk. And let's see. The Paladin artillery piece. It looked a lot better when it was brand new. It's gotten beat up a little. And then now this one's kind of I'm gonna have trouble. This one's falling apart. So let me see if I can throw it back together. This is the CH-47 Chinook helicopter that I had going on the corner of my desk, and just this was a very boring class, as you can tell. And then
Yes.
And then let's see, what is this one? Oh, the OH-58D Kiowa Warrior, which I've got bits and pieces of it laying all over him. But that's the only, but here's what's funny. I could give that class right now because I remembered it so well by doing that with just I did something in the class and it stuck in my brain.
You tied the memories into the.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's what certain people recommend, and on certain books.
Hashtag always promote.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Somebody needs to bring a 3D scanner to Helicott and make some plastic models for John.
Talk to Rich. He's the one
Oh,
with 3D
here's
scanner.
one. We got all our buddies here that are doing 3D printing. I won't mention any names. Oh. But anyway, I had this idea today that 3D printing's cool and you can actually make some neat stuff, but it's usually toys. You don't see anybody, building something useful, I guess the best way to put it.
Mhm.
NASA sent one up to the International Space Station to build a wrench to fix something, which that was very cool. Okay. But I had a brilliant idea today. You know how most shoes nowadays are made out of foam and lycra and stuff like that? They're mostly plastic.
Mhm.
I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could buy a 3D printer and print shoes in your own home?
I just saw a video the other day. Somebody 3D printed themselves a pair of Crocs.
I was going to say that's pretty much what Crocs. Yeah.
Up to and including the little, flap in the back for sport mode that actually moves.
I bought these at Walmart. These are my gardening shoes. These are what I beat up around the house. And the bottom is completely foam, and then it's lycra fabric with, elastic stuff. With the right 3D printer, that would not be hard to print. It could change, and the thing is, especially with kids, because I imagine everybody here has bought shoes for kids. They go through shoes, like that because they're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you try them on in the store, and by the time you get them home, you're going back to the store to get a new pair.
Get them back to the house, and the kid hasn't tossed one out the window on the freeway. Okay, that's okay. Pay attention, thesis. Yeah, you've got to go through this pretty soon.
No.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone? Tossed it out the window at Burger King. Okay, yes. Can we go to Burger King now and get your phone?
John, I watch a lot of ham radio shows on YouTube, and a lot of those guys use a 3D printer to build antenna parts.
Really?
Because they'll buy like two pieces of two different antennas, and they'll have to try to fit them together somehow. And so they'll print 3D pieces to create the piece that wasn't there, I guess. And they do quite well on it. And sometimes they'll even reprint new boxes for electronics that they're using.
I know a guy that uses a 3D printer to make gun parts, but he doesn't actually make the gun parts with the 3D printer. He makes a part out of the 3D plastic or whatever it is and uses it for the mold to pour the metal into to make the part. Yeah, it's kind of neat thing. And then he winds up casting the part out of whatever metal he wants. Specifically, his big deal is making custom scope mounts for rifles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There are some rifles that just a generic scope mount doesn't really work on it because of the way the rifle, especially the older M1 Garands, M14s, and the Ruger Mini 14, Mini 30. And that's where I found him, was on the Mini 14, Mini 30 page. And those particular rifles, because they're top ejectors, you have to put the scopes off to the left side of the rifle, which if you're right-handed isn't a problem, but it is definitely not a left-handed rifle. He builds, but he builds some very interesting scope mounts for lefties.
Cool.
No, Willie, Joe is not sick. Joe is down in Huntsville, I think it is, Alabama, at a convention. He's showing the flag.
He's pimping Helicon.
He's pimping Helicon.
And thesis, I did watch your tea ceremony.
Nice. Yep. Filmed that Monday night.
Yeah. Lindsay is planning on watching it after the dog settles down for the night. No. The dog is pretty good now that it's recognizing that she's not going to sleep in the bed for a while. She has to sleep in the lazy boy to keep her arm in the right position to keep from making it the broken collarbone not heal correctly.
Right.
And I allowed her to go ahead and overexert herself. Because I knew she wouldn't listen until that happened. And when it finally happened, I got her to sit down in the chair, prop her arm up, and let me do stuff.
Did you tie her down there?
No, I didn't tie her down because she swears she can still open the back door and let the dog in and out. And she can still prepare the bowls of cat food with one hand if I take them outside and set them out for the cats, either the front porch or out in the backyard. Weird thing about the back door is the screen door frame is all metal, and the house has settled a little bit, so now one side is entirely too close to the frame, and you have to pull it closed.
Mm.
And I had the bright idea to put 2 air cylinders on it as the settling was happening, so the second cylinder would actually pull the top of the door in. I can just barely open that door now myself. And it's like climbing a ladder to get up the back steps with the door open and not get knocked over by the door. So I can imagine what kind of problem she's having. But I may take that second air cylinder off and put it on the screen door on the front porch when I buy a new screen door for the front porch.
We bought that screen door for our back porch that had the dog door in it. It had a large dog door, and it came with 2 cylinders, one at the top and the bottom, because 70 pounds of dogs is kind of rough on a screen door.
She wouldn't have a problem with ours because Donna opened it the other day as we're going out, and the screw ripped out completely out of it, and the door just swung wide open. And
well, it's not like that thing works anyway. I mean, you need to put a new one on there.
Yeah, I need a new
well, there's a way to adjust them. It may just need adjusting because over time the seals leak pressure. And
well, no, they're talking about a spring.
The screw actually that holds it to the door just tore out. It was held by 2 screws. One already tore out, and then this one was the last one. So, yeah, I was lucky to get it back in, sort of. But once a screw hole gets torn, you can't really reuse it again. So, new screen door probably.
Wood glue and toothpicks.
Oh, okay.
Put you some wood glue on toothpicks, break it off, file it down, and then you can run the screw back in.
She wants a new cylinder.
I want a cylinder that works. Right now, he complains because people don't push it shut when they leave or pull it shut when they come in. That's because they see an air cylinder there and go, "Oh, the door's going to shut itself." No, the cylinder is broken. It is too freaking old. New cylinder.
But I'll tell you, there on the back of the cylinder, you got your arm that usually goes to the door. You have the cylinder that's attached to the door frame. On the back side of that cylinder, right near the door frame, there should be a screw.
To adjust the pressure.
Take a screwdriver or whatever wrench it requires to change. You open it, let the pressure off. Open the door to where you normally open it, about 45-degree angle, 70-degree angles, depending on. And then once you hold it open there with your foot, reach up and put that screw back in to lock the pressure in. And then it should work.
Okay.
John, as old as this cylinder is, that's like expecting Cialis to work for a 200-year-old man's dick.
Wow.
Cialis is actually a 200-year-old man, okay? Because trust me, if you give Cialis and he gets even the least little bit of erection, at 200 years old, he's doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Now, no, the reason I say this is your 200 or your 100-year-old cylinder, whatever it is, it may actually be a better cylinder than what they're building brand new today. Okay, so don't knock it if it's old.
Yeah, it would be if the wind hadn't caught it during a tornado and bent the hell out of the rod that goes into it too. It's like, it needs replaced. The whole door needs replaced. Yeah. That'll be on my next month's Menard visit. I had to get today. Have you priced paint?
Yeah.
Yeah. I go in, I'm thinking I'll get a gallon of paint. It won't be more than $20, right? No, it's $50. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can go with something cheaper. And I go down, find one for $37. Sold.
I went to Lowe's one day, and it just so happened they were having a clearance sale on this one that was going on. And they had a screen door that was the exact dimensions of our front door. So, that'd work. The only problem was my brain was remembering back door but it was remembering the dimensions for the front door. The problem is, if I'm going to put a screen door on the front of the house, it has to be a left-handed door and not a right-handed door. So my brain said, ooh, right-handed door, right dimensions. It was the wrong, it was back asswards for what I needed for the front of the house. So I wound up giving it to a friend of my mom's that helps her with her house.
Cool.
I think he likes my mom.
That happens in their age,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's kind of funny.
when my dad moved into this retirement apartment, he was telling us, well, all these women are bringing me like baked goods and stuff. I'm like, well, Dad, they like you, maybe they want to start something. You should. I'm too old for that kind of nonsense. I'm like, Dad, I hope I'm never too old for that kind of nonsense.
There you go. What's
So
the joke
far, so
about?
good.
There's that joke about the nursing home that they give the old guys Viagra every night before they go to bed. That way they don't roll out of bed.
Oh. Oh, hey, speaking of books, I hope that.
Oh wait!
I hope Mr. Sterling's still here. What?
Yeah, I know. I see that.
What?
What?
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Don.
What?
I've been sitting back there for 30 minutes. No, not 30 minutes.
We didn't see you.
I know.
I didn't hear the beep.
The only-
I did. Well, to be honest, somebody's got computers going on in their background, so we didn't hear beeps the whole damn time, and yours got lost in it. I do apologize. If I had noticed, I'd have clicked your button.
So I was starting to say that I hope that Mr. Sterling's still here because I'm almost finished with his book. I've been reading it during appointments, like when I had to wait somewhere. I'll read a little bit. And
I used to call those truck books.
Yeah.
Keep them in
I'm just about
the seat of the truck.
Just about to that last chapters, and I'm like, I hope I have to do laundry Monday so I can go down and read the rest of that book.
Honestly, that's why I do a lot of my reading too, waiting for doctor's appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, being in the military, we had backpack books.
Mm-hmm.
You'd go someplace and they put you in a room and you'd sit there for 12 hours.
I'm sorry, Thesis.
Oh no!
Great segue.
The pressure.
Atta girl, kitty. Atta girl.
I will say there's nothing like that feeling when you open up that box and pull your own book out of that box that first time.
At least my dog loves me.
Oh.
We love you too. We're just kissing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I just got a box of 15 to take to conventions.
Well, I didn't need 15.
I know, but then my publisher emails me today, several days after I got the 15, says, "How many do you need?" And I go, "I think I can do with 10."
I'm in the process of reading one of my Kevin Stevenson books I got at Halicon last year.
Oh. Yeah, I'm way behind, sadly, in reading. But that's the problem with, having friends that are authors and, and meeting new authors all the time. And it's like, I told Donna, don't make any new friends this year, okay?
Wait. There's just one that we know needs, if they put that book out, you have to get.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Come here.
Well, you know it. Aw.
Poke.
And Don says hi.
Oh, and evidently Thessaly's going to send me a copy of her latest story for my impressions. So
cool.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I guess we're made up.
Oh, cool.
What did you do?
It was his fault.
It always is.
It was.
Isn't it always?
Always his fault, no matter what.
Okay.
I was, you know how there's the island in our kitchen and the sink.
Mhm.
I was at the island. I turned around to do something at the sink, and Callie was laying on the floor behind me, and I stepped on his little paw. And
Oh,
trying to not put my whole weight on it, I wrenched my right shoulder and hit the sink. Salantis is wonderful. I couldn't even lift this earlier. It hurt so bad, but I'm doing okay now. Of course, that was at like what 11:30 this morning.
Now, I am slowly requiring fewer and fewer of the ibuprofen and whatnot.
Hmm.
I think I've only had like 2 doses today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's I'm
That's
that's
pretty good.
yeah. So yeah,
Well, the warmer weather's probably helping. I know it's helping
Mhm.
my knees a lot.
oh yeah, yeah. If it's cold, I'm all scrunched up trying to stay warm, and being outside and doing stuff helps too. Of course, I get tired out quickly, but that's leftover COVID.
Mm,
Tired's better than hurting, though.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we went over to get Donna's new headphones. Dawn, she's got gauze wrapped around them because they're still too new, and she's breaking them in. But we, while we were over there, she's like, "Well, we can go to Benny's too," and I'm like, "Oh, why do we need to go to Benny's? You know? Oh, we need to go to Benny's." So anyway,
April, it's sale time.
yeah, it was a sale. They had these Taranios on clearance, and so she grabs a bunch of them, and she says, "You better grab those last 3." I'm like, "Okay, I will," which I did. But when I was
Oh.
like looking around, you know, and I should have looked for Statesman, but I didn't. I was over there and I was looking at the Woodford Reserve. Okay, and this is the $42 bottle at Meyer. $26. It was on sale.
ooh.
Ooh.
Should have bought 3, but I only bought the 1.
Well, during the month of April at Benny's, if you buy a minimum of 5 cigars, you get 20% off your off of your cigars, except for anything that's on sale.
Has your tax check come back in yet?
We're retired. We don't get refunds.
Oh, well.
Yeah. In fact, I had to have more taken out of my pension to pay the taxes because last year they said, "Oh, Mr. Witzman, you didn't pay enough. That'll be about $5,000." And I said, yeah. There went all the savings.
Let me be emperor of the United States for a few hours. And,
Good.
And
You'd fix that.
senior citizens, retired people will not pay taxes.
Well, and you know, I don't pay any state tax, which is really wild because I work for the state of Illinois. I pay no state tax. And then my Social Security is not taxed in Illinois. And I looked at other states and some of them, they tax Social Security, some of them tax pensions. And I'm like, no, I'm stuck.
Mm.
I think we should tax politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for me.
5% every term they stay in office. The longer they stay in office, the higher up the tax goes. So,
I like that idea.
We old folks should all be drinking turkey tail mushroom tea daily.
Okay, first we had mushroom coffee, and now we have mushroom tea.
I've been seeing all these ads for mushroom coffee.
I think I would be better off drinking wild turkey.
Yeah.
I'm good on all of it.
Yeah.
Of course, to quote Battlestar Galactica 1984, coffee, a drink made from beans. They drink beans?
Actually, my wife got some mushroom coffee, if I remember correctly, and she said it wasn't bad.
She
Really?
told me it was tasted kind of like hot chocolate, and I'm thinking, well, then why don't we just make hot chocolate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I'm tired of
simple
seeing all
pleasures
these
in life.
companies coming out with something that tastes like something we like.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's like,
Yeah, why don't you just drink what you
bacon.
like?
Yeah, it's vegan bacon.
Yeah.
Who thought that one up?
Yeah.
The same people that thought of decaffeinated coffee. What's the point?
It's like
Or turkey bacon.
Yeah, no. Now turkey bacon, I could see.
No.
Well, no. Okay, I'm one of those people that if you go to Gatlinburg and walk into the beef jerky store or the jerky store, beef jerky, pork jerky, chicken jerky, turkey jerky, buffalo, ostrich, emu.
Yeah, turkey jerky, yes, but not turkey bacon. It's a different thing, and bacon can only be pork. I don't care what anybody says.
And isn't pork jerky just bacon?
Pretty
Works
much,
for me.
Should be, yeah.
Um,
Unless you're pouring honey on it and a couple of
Now-
spices to make it into cowboy candy.
It's like
Yeah.
pre-cooked
No,
bacon.
I will point out one thing to Aunt Donna specifically here is you have beef bologna,
Nope.
and then you have the other bolognas that are made out of chicken, pork, turkey.
The real
that's-
bologna.
and, yeah, but it's not the same as beef bologna.
Oh, hell no. And I don't have that beef bologna crap. Nope.
Really?
Nope. And don't try to get, and not beef hot dogs either. Are you kidding me? It got to have all that stuff in there.
Oh, okay. No, I am a big fan of beef bologna, especially, but I can never find the beef bologna I want because it's the most popular is thick slice beef bologna, and it tastes better. And if you ever buy a bologna, a whole bologna, it needs to be a beef bologna. That's just
Yeah.
It's been decades since I could actually stand bologna.
Yeah.
Really.
I used to love it as a kid, and then as I got older, my taste buds eventually changed, and
As they do.
I just can't do it now.
Yeah. I'm the same way, Dan. Same
I
way.
don't know if y'all know. I've mentioned it before, though. But we have a smoker grill, Traeger pellet grill, and I have been playing around with the idea of buying a pork shoulder and actually making my own bacon. All you need is the salt, and I've got some canning salt, but you need the saltpeter, potassium nitrate, and then. But the nice thing about buying a pork shoulder is you can cut that bacon as thick as you want. Now, have you ever seen a piece of bacon this thick? Okay, that's a pork shoulder. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Now you're putting saltpeter in it?
You did anyway, right?
Saltpeter?
Yes.
Wasn't that the stuff they gave to troops so they wouldn't get excited? Okay.
Yes, and it's one of the main ingredients in bacon, strangely.
Oh, I'm glad I don't eat any bacon.
Well, that's just, you don't get enough of it to really do.
Oh, okay.
Unless
It takes a bunch.
Yeah, unless you're eating a pound of bacon every morning, it won't make any difference.
No, I can vouch. If you're eating a pound of bacon every morning, it still doesn't affect you.
Okay.
Interestingly enough,
good to know.
I found this Facebook page, and it's for homesteaders, people that do their own stuff. And we had this argument about canning and salt, and everyone was like, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to find." And I posted it. I posted the actual post. It was about making spice blends for food without salt, like making your own Italian seasonings or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And you probably saw the post about all the different no salt seasonings. And I'm big on no salt seasonings, just not because I'm anti-salt, but the problem is if you make anything in your kitchen, okay, your tomatoes have salt, your tomato sauce has salt, okay, your cheese has salt, okay, and by the time you get done making a lasagna or something, especially Italian foods, there's so much salt in it, it ruins the flavor. So I always try to get the low sodium variant, low sodium tomatoes. You can't really get low sodium cheese because salt is like the number 2 ingredient in cheese. And but if you can reduce the salt, you get a better flavor, and you can always add salt. You can't take it away. Okay. So we were having this discussion on that site, and the guy says, "Oh, you have to have salt," and somebody else was like, "Oh, all these anti-salt people," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I pointed out that you can always add salt for flavor.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, we got to the discussion. Well, iodized table salt, your standard, everybody goes into the store buys iodized table salt, is not salt. It's not pure salt. The main ingredient is salt, but there's actually 5 ingredients in it. Salt's only one of them. You got, of course, potassium iodide, which is the iodized part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got baking soda, which is in there to it's to keep it from clumping into one solid piece of salt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Desiccant. Yellow Prussic, which is again another sucrose. There's actually sugar. Yeah, there's actually sugar in table salt. Go figure. And what was the other one? There's something else. Salt, iodine, yellow Prussic, baking soda, and sucrose. And that's your 5 ingredients in table salt. Iodized table salt. It's not iodized. You don't have the potassium iodide in it. Now, if you buy canning salt, like the salt you use for doing canned good or doing your own canning, it's pure salt. There's no additives. It's just salt, and it's a very fine salt too. So it actually you got to be careful of adding it to stuff because it'll oversalt something.
It'd be really easy to oversalt something with that. Yeah.
And Morton has started making this sea salt that I like. It's a product of Israel. Yeah, go Israel. But I like
do
that
something
one.
with the Dead Sea.
Yeah, exactly. But I like that salt because if you watch Cowboy Ken and they show him cleaning cast iron skillets, that's the salt he uses for cleaning cast iron skillets. It's the coarse Morton sea salt.
What's that stuff you use, Donna?
Pink Himalayan sea salt. It's supposed to be good for diabetics, better for diabetics. And you have to be careful with it because it's saltier than regular salt.
And then it's got, what is it, iron? That's what makes it pink, is the iron oxide that's in it or something. So you get your daily dose of iron with it too, which is something.
If I would have known this was going to be a learning and teaching show, I wouldn't have came on. No, I'm kidding.
We need Trey's little
Yeah.
You're gonna have to record that, Joe, and send us all copies of it. So
Yes, absolutely.
I have never heard of Celtic salt. Is that like different than something else? Oh, great! I got to do internet stuff again. Damn it.
No, I'm actually gonna have to season my cast iron stove because it is outdoors in the weather.
Yeah.
As soon as I put a fire in it and it cools off, the next time it rains, it starts to rust. So I'm going to have to wipe the whole thing down with the oil that Cowboy Kent recommends because that's what he uses to season his cast iron pans.
I would suggest go get you a quart of lard. and wipe it, and that way you can take a rag, wipe the whole thing down with lard. You get all the spots you don't miss. And as you heat it up, the lard melts and gets into all the cracks and crevices.
Well, he was recommend. Ooh, I did hear the ping that time.
Who's here?
No
Hey, there's that guy.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, you.
Yeah, I said as soon as I get out of hell, I'll be there.
So you're in hell?
Now I'm at Wendy's now.
That's close enough. No,
Hey, I
Actually-
like Wendy's.
I was gonna say the Wendy's by Econo Lodge, they were always really nice when we were in setup, and I had to go down there with the list of like 6 things going. I need this and this. She went through it and deciphered it all with me. It was really nice.
We just
We
had
like
dinner
we
tonight.
like every Wendy's except the one that's close to our house.
that's usually how it is.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, Joe, give us a brief on where you're at and what you're doing, not including Wendy's.
I'm at an undisclosed Wendy's somewhere in a state that starts with the letter A.
You went to Alaska?
Arizona?
He'd be better off in either of those.
As Holia?
He's always there.
I was betting on that one, actually.
No, I've already checked out the convention space, and good Lord, they've got almost as much room as the Chattanooga Trade Center, John.
Wow. Well, it is Huntsville. I mean,
Yeah, they. I mean, like when they do the World of Wheels down there, that's how much space they're using.
okay.
Wow.
So it's
So you're doing a lot of walking, is what you're telling us.
I possibly will. We actually, me and Donna were sitting at the Walmart, and we looked at radios with the 23-mile range. You know, so we can actually, because I can't hear the damn phone ring.
Inigo wants to go. Inigo's
Do
like,
what?
Inigo. I can hear Inigo talking to
He wants to play.
Ah.
He wants attention.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Donna wants to order, so I got to go.
Hi, Donna.
Alrighty.
Bye, Donna.
Hi, Donna. Bye, Donna. Bye,
All
Joe.
right.
Hi, Joe.
I was supposed to click end show, right?
No, that's what Joe does. The other Joe.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Can we ban him from here?
I don't know.
It's
It's on
his
the
damn
Alabama.
channel. If I had my
Go ahead.
if I had my own StreamYard channel, I do have one, but I've got the free version. If I paid to have all the bells and whistles we've got here, yeah, he could be kicked and banned quite easily. But
I looked it up.
He's
Go ahead.
his little thing says boss, not Donna. I got news for him. Anytime there's a Donna in the room, she is the boss. Go ahead, John.
I looked up Celtic salt, and Celtic salt is sea salt. It's also called selgris or gray salt because of its gray color, which comes from the extra minerals: magnesium, calcium, potassium, zinc, and iron.
mm,
Okay. And let me see. Apparently
Okay,
they
I've
make
heard
it
of gray salt.
Yeah, they make it from seawater. And then Celtic salt versus Himalayan salt and other types of salt. Other types of salt, Celtic salt is mostly sodium chloride, but it has trace levels of magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron. Himalayan salt, strangely enough, comes from a salt mine in Pakistan.
Well, of course, as you would.
Yeah, and Himalayan salt. And it used to be a C, interestingly enough, before the Himalayans formed. It doesn't. They've got a lot of health benefit stuff about this much, it says there are no studies that indicate that Celtic salt is better than Himalayan salt, but there are some small differences between the two.
Okay.
Celtic salt has more calcium and magnesium. Himalayan salt, on the other hand, has the most potassium.
So hey, yeah, that's good. Excuse me, that's a good thing.
Yeah. It also Celtic salt also doesn't have any of the anti-caking agents that most salts do.
Oh.
Okay, so it's pretty good salt.
Well,
Sorry, Foxy. We're getting deep into the salt mine.
I can salt
yeah,
Except on pizza. It's too salty to put on pizza.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
And yes, I salt my pizza.
Yeah. Assault and battery. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Neither Kiri nor Joe Dog are in this room at this moment, and you had to go there, John? Really?
Yes.
That's because they were here.
I have to carry for the slackers that aren't here tonight.
Wow.
Okay, so you guys, I think y'all know who Nita is. She posted a thing about that their cat accidentally ordered something online accidentally ordered something, and it was a joke that she had passed on. And I was like, that really happened to Nick.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
At least that's his story.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Amanda saw it, so I do believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering how the cat learned his credit card codes.
Well, some of those
He
things.
probably had that one click buy.
And I just said something similar happened to Nick at a Nerf blaster, and he says in capital letters, except it really happened. Amanda saw it. Amanda, tell them.
I believe it. Yeah.
If Amanda saw it, we know it happened.
Well, of all the dietary supplements that I need to take, I will never have to take iron, or I will never need what's the one that was popular in the 50s or whatever. Well, it's not important. It slows the thing down. I will never need to take iron supplements because we have a well and we live in Georgia, which used to be a sea bottom, which accounts for all the Georgia red clay. So all the water has an extreme iron content.
You had Geritol and one a day, and Vitavegamin.
Oh gosh!
I'm glad somebody got that joke.
I used to have to watch Lucille Ball every damn day.
But don't forget to take your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine, that was the other one I was trying to remember. And of course, Tang.
Hey, in the early 60s, Tang was pretty much what you could afford if you couldn't afford real orange juice. So
my first stitches were because of Tang, so I'm familiar with it.
Your first stitches?
The first time I had to get stitches was because of Tang.
Okay, this is a story.
Oh, you're allergic.
I wouldn't lead to stitches.
No, I went to grab. You remember the glass pitchers they had with the orange plastic top that you'd screw on for Tang? I went to grab the pitcher of Tang and went and turned it because the counter. My parents, if you watch the episode of whatever that was from Thanksgiving, they have a galley kitchen. And so I turned from the refrigerator to the counter, and I hit the counter with the bottom of the pitcher, and the bottom of the pitcher fell out onto my foot. And you want to know what's even worse? My mom was having, as my toe is sitting there squirting blood all over her kitchen. Sorry. She was having a home interiors party that night.
Of course.
Wait a minute.
Ignore the
You were-
blood.
You were making Tang for a home interior party.
No, I was getting a drink of Tang before the party started. My mom, this was like, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It didn't start till 6 type of thing.
Welcome to my home interior party. We have
I
Tang
know.
and vodka.
So she had to run me to the ER, and this is when you can get to the ER and out within we see it's a toe, stitch it up, she's home. So Dad's sitting there trying to clean the blood up.
Mm.
Well, at least yours was because of glass. I had stitches in this temple because of a pillow.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, that one upped my story.
is that from last night or is that a new one, Joe?
That's from last night.
Oh, I missed it. What was it?
In the link chat for Secret, not Secret Funeral Group, Stupid O'Clock,
Oh,
I made the More You Know video
okay.
for folks.
Nice.
Cool.
When I was younger, my parents had this ugly ass brown vibrating pillow. Don't ask.
Okay.
And I pissed my brother off one day, and he just reached behind him and grabbed that pillow and smacked me in the head with it.
Oh.
Caught my temple, hooked in, so when he pulled back,
Oh.
and head wounds bleed. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you lost a pillow fight.
I did.
Yeah.
Badly.
Big time, yeah.
Those vibrating pillows were popular like in the 80s, I think.
And
I
that's
mean-
That
it.
was good though. I wish they'd bring them back. Damn it!
They
Right.
were in the back of your neck. Yeah.
They're,
You know
they're-
that brown pillow we have with the
Uh-huh.
fur on one side?
Uh-huh.
That's a vibrating pillow.
Yeah.
It's probably late
Probably needs new
80s,
batteries.
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. 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 They were hand back there.
Thank you.
Hi, Ted.
You already left.
Yeah. Yeah, my first stitches was
that
on my
thing
shin,
reaching through.
done by a glass cake pan.
Ooh,
Mm.
I had, for some reason, it was about 4 or 5, took my mom's glass cake pan out and had it in my wading pool. You can't see them things when they're laying on the bottom there, full of water. Stepped in, flew up, hit my shin, and I looked down and I'm like, okay, go in, Mom, I'm bleeding. I guess I was very calm about the whole thing, and I was just gushing blood. And she takes me down to the ED, and back then, if you were a pediatric, they didn't have emergency room doctors for pediatrics. You had to have your own pediatrician come there to do stuff.
Hmm.
So Dr. Lance comes in and they've cleaned me all up, and he's like, okay, we're going to sit you up now. And I said, I need to see it first. And he let me see it. And I now realize that what I saw, that piece of white had to have been my shin bone. That's how deep it was.
Oh.
And he says, okay, lay back down. I'm going to sew you up. So he sewed me up. And he was such a cool doctor. He's like, well, do you want to see my handiwork? And I said, sure. Yeah. Looked at it and told him he'd done a good job. So, yeah, I have a kind of a, not exactly an X, not exactly a T-shaped scar on my left shin.
Mm.
well, the second time I got stitches, that was in my head. As you can tell, I've had stitches from head to toe, and that's when my sister and I were messing around and hit the roost, which was used for storage in my grandmother's chicken house. At the time, they had gotten rid of the chickens, and hit me in the head, and
Oh, yeah, I had 3 concussions before I was 4 years old and made the mistake of telling the woodsman dude that, to which he muttered, that explains a lot.
It does.
Oh.
Things a lot.
Dad and I were shoveling soybeans into the dump truck to take them. They had dried out, so we wouldn't get any value removed from the crop. So we got into this rhythm. He'd throw a shovel full, I'd throw a shovel full. I had the aluminum shovel, he had the heavy steel shovel, and I got out of the rhythm. I turned around and I caught that steel shovel right across my forehead.
That
And we-
explains so much, Dan, but we still love you.
Oh no, it gets better. We got to the emergency room. The doctor says, "Okay, here's a spray on anesthetic." Then he tried putting the stitches in. He goes, "Charlie, the nurse, bring me the really, really tough needles." And Mom asked him why. He said, "This is the hardest head kid I've ever seen in my life."
Wow.
Evidently, I dulled his needle for the stitches, so he had to go get the hardcore. So he whips out something like he would use to sew sails together with, and puts 3 stitches in my head. And the doctor looks at Mom and goes, "What happened?" And wouldn't be able to get away with it today, but because my mother's a smartass, she says his dad caught him smelling the daisies. And then they had to explain. I mean, nowadays, child services would have been all over that.
My dad was a pro bass fisherman. Okay. Had a nice bass boat, big Mercury engine on the back of it. Okay. So he's up front running the trolling motor and fishing off the front of the boat. And well, my brother's in the middle seat. He's fishing off his side of the boat. I'm on the back fishing off the top of the motor. Well, the motor is a good 2.5 feet off the top of the boat. So to cast in any direction over the top of this motor, I have to cast sideways to get the lure to go out where I need to go. And my dad kept telling me, "Quit standing up, but don't stand up in the boat." I said, "Well, I have to because I'm right-handed. I'm trying to cast over this, big motor." Well, my dad is also right-handed, so I didn't realize this. He's casting over the top of the boat. He's casting right over my head. So I stood up to cast over a boat and whap! Yank! It almost put me off the boat. Okay.
Yeah.
He has hit me with a Rebel Little George fishing lure, big, about 1 ounce of lead, with a 3-pronged hook and a spoon. One of the hooks went in and out. So I'm fairly well caught. The other one went in part way and didn't quite go through all the way. I'm bleeding like a stuck pig. He drove the boat back as fast as he could. I'm laying in the bottom of the boat, blood going all over the damn boat. And head wounds always bleed badly. And I'm seeing stars because he literally, an ounce of lead, it's like getting in the head with a shotgun slug. So he gets back to the deck and tells one of his buddies, watch my brother watch the boat. Okay. And throws me in the back of the station wagon, unhooks the boat trailer real quick, and drives like a bat out of hell to get me to the emergency room. And so they stitch it. Okay. 2 stitches. That's all it took. 2 stitches. But it looked worse than it did. So, worse than it did.
My favorite ER story actually is not about myself, although I've got several of them, but about my mom and dad. Dad's idea was solution to almost anything was hit it with a hammer. So he had a hitch that was frozen and he was trying to unhitch, and it was And so Mom was holding one side of the hitch, and he was banging on the hitch to unfreeze it. Rears up, bumps my mom in the head. So he takes her into the ER, and then one of the nurses on duty happened to be an old girlfriend of his. And so she's taking down information, and she's like, well, how did this happen? And Mom says, John hit me in the head with a hammer.
Oh.
And there was silence, I guess, for a moment. And then the old girlfriend said, he didn't mean to, did he? And my mom, being a smart ass, because this is where I learned it from, said, well, he says he didn't mean to.
Oh, Lord.
Mm.
We have
Yeah.
all survived so much trauma.
Physical and emotionally and mentally and
And thankfully,
Yeah, everything.
there's no record of it. There was no asshole with a cell phone camera on your face, so we just get to remember it through, trauma bonding like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Dan, I was lucky that all my ER visits came before the Child Protection Act or whatever happened, because I was in the ER at least once a year when I was a kid, not counting all the times I was sick, but with my accidents. But
Hello, Billy.
when Mom was in the home, I was mouthing off, and she's like, where did you learn to talk like that? And I looked at her and I said, from the best, you. And then she stuck her tongue out at me like Lucy Ball does.
Oh,
Understood, Foxy.
hey, our high school football coach tried to get my my sister to join the team because she was easily twice the size of most of the guys, and she'd already developed a reputation that she was not to be messed with. They figure she's gonna run downfield, people gonna get out of her way.
Yeah, I got the feeling that wasn't the reputation Foxy was going for.
Well,
And Foxy, me too. Love flag football.
Another hit and run from Billy No Mates. Comes up, demands the food bowl be put on the floor. 3 bites, he's out of here. Well, Lindsay's already fed him twice today.
Is
And
that
this is
all?
the 3rd time he's come back here and taken 3 bites and run off. He'll be back in about 5 minutes.
yeah, see, if you didn't have a dog, you could leave food in there all the time. And
Exactly.
Come in, nosh a bit, leave again. That's what ours do.
Well, and the thing is, the dog has learned where the cat bowl usually sits in the floor, and she'll come back here trying to vacuum up stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That the cat tossed out of the bowl.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think they leave anything, but then she always finds something to crunch on.
We have 2 cat vacuums in our house, so there's barely anything like that.
Yeah.
Ours don't really eat human food ever.
Really?
That's the lure you get smacked
That's what I got hit with.
Oh wow!
So if any of you ladies out there ever want to catch me, there's the lure.
There's a lure that'll catch John.
Yeah.
May not like the hospital bill later, but
And it's still
I hear Ice does better.
Ice down the back.
He does the cutest little dance.
at least that's the easy way to get him to stand at attention without having a rank military or.
No, that's what we do in the Waffle House. The other's what we do when. Oh, never mind.
Someday there will be recompense for that little stunt.
Which stunt? Which stunt?
It's being planned.
Yes.
I'm not a party to the plans, but I can
Does anybody
see
want to
the
tell me
wheels
the part of
turning.
the plan?
See, back in the late 1800s, the McClourys and Clanton gang killed one of Wyatt Earp's brothers and wounded another, and then tried to kill Wyatt Earp and several. And he got a bunch of people together and did this thing called the Vendetta Ride. Okay. Where he rode around Arizona and basically killed everybody that had offended him. And,
Wow.
Are you saying that's part of the plan?
that is actually the basis for the blueprint. Yes.
Forgive me, John, but your rank was higher than E4?
Yes.
Might have made a mistake there, but you did get to have fun and play with Sirius, buddy.
It wasn't my choice. It got to the point where when I made A4, I'd been in for so long that I was getting a maximum paycheck.
Mhm.
So they kind of had to promote me to E5. And when they promoted me to E5, I was already getting the maximum paycheck because I'd been in that long. And then they promoted me to E6, and I was already getting the maximum paycheck because I had been in that long. So they fired me because they damn sure didn't want to pay me as a full E7 with maximum years. So anyway, it broke the government.
I really can't imagine somebody being evicted from the E4 Mafia.
I still have my ring from the E4 Mafia.
Which they don't exist, but if they did.
No, they do exist. They're made out of duct tape and 550 cord. But anyway. Excuse me.
Yeah, Nick, the fat electrician, talks about the E4 Mafia plenty of times. And I'm going, ooh, this is the highest you can go without having any responsibilities.
In theory, but to be honest, I did more before 9 a.m. than most E6s did when I was in E4. So E4 Mafia talks a good game, but they actually run the army.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yes.
Get so much work done that nobody can tell you to do more because you've already got it done.
It's like you go down to the motor pool, you take your walk, go down the motor pool, grab the vehicle, parking some E6. Where are you parking that vehicle?
Did John's audio just go wonky?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
A little bit.
I had nothing to do with it this time.
E6 comes out and goes, why is this vehicle parked here? You just look at your watch and go, wait for it. And about then a window opens up on the side of the building. First sergeant sticks his head out and goes, good, you've already got your vehicle up here.
That's almost as good as the one where a new base commander is trying to find out whether there's a wet paint sign on a bench. And
it wasn't the wet paint sign. Why is there a guard on the bench? And the guard has been instructed not to let anyone sit on the bench. Why? And the guard's like, I don't know, sir. I was just told to guard the bench and don't let anybody sit on it. And the captain goes back, looks it up. It's been a standing order for like 12 years, and it was instituted by the colonel that ran the unit. Just so happens he knows this colonel, finds his phone number, calls him. Says, yeah, can you tell me why there's a guard on a bench? And the colonel goes, that paint hadn't dried yet?
Yeah.
I thought that was a great story.
That's about like that. That's like that church in Jerusalem where they can't move the ladder because none of the. I think there's 5 different religions. in
There's
that.
three different. Yeah, there's three different. There's
Yeah,
three
they all-
different priests that run this church.
Yeah.
One's Jewish, one's Christian, one's Islamic,
Mhm.
and they put a ladder up to fix something,
Huh?
and they're not allowed to move it unless they all agree to move the ladder.
Exactly.
The
And they all
ladder-
can't agree on anything. Nothing. Yeah, I'm
Church of the Holy
about
Church
that.
of the Holy Sepulchre. That's the one.
I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
I had heard a story about one time they one of the guys that was there, a minor priest, decided that he wanted to move his chair just a little bit over to get in the shade, and because he moved the chair, it devolved into fisticuffs. The police had to be called. People got hauled away. There's blood involved. All because he moved his chair a couple inches to get in the shade without everyone's permission. Wow.
We had this guard post when I was stationed in Berlin. It was the Allied Kommandantura building.
Ooh.
And it was where the four Allied powers were supposed to meet to discuss what to do in Berlin for various things like that. And of course, the Americans, the British, and the French were all, kind of on the same sheet of music. But the Russians were always, like, oh,
Yeah.
so they quit going there. And because it was in the American sector, the Americans had to guard the building. Just had a military guard out front. And we used to have so much fun when we were guarding that building at night, going into the Soviet areas of the building just to mess with the caretakers that took care of the Soviet offices in the building. And it was just like they'd have the Soviet flags on the, how they have the little desk displays, and they'll have like the Berlin flag and Soviet flag. We'd switch them.
Oh,
It's little things, just little things like that. It's loosen all the light bulbs. So it's
we had
Putting back was bad.
no, it was their problem. If they had been there guarding if they had been there in the building like they were supposed to, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Oh, so you're saying that it's my fault that you're going to get me back?
Yes.
We had a supervisor in one of our offices. She didn't want anybody to sit at her desk while she was gone. And people like me who come in and just kind of rotate to different offices, sometimes I'd sit in her office. And they say, don't touch anything or move anything while you're in there. Like, okay. When I left for the day, I'd say, I moved one thing. And they're like, what? I'm not going to tell you.
Do you remember there was an episode?
She noticed when she got back,
There was an episode of Seinfeld where he was dating this girl, and they were in the bath. They'd spent the night together, and there's in the bathroom, and he's brushing his teeth. And he goes to put his toothbrush down and knocked her toothbrush into the toilet.
Oh.
So he reaches in. He has to reach into the toilet to grab her toothbrush out, puts on this, and he's sitting there washing his hands because he had his hand in the toilet. It just, and he turns around, and his girlfriend's standing behind him brushing her teeth.
Uh-oh.
She had snuck in behind him and grabbed the toothbrush while he was busy washing his hands, and he's like, ugh. So then he can't kiss her. And she's mad at him because he won't kiss her. And he explains it. Says, I dropped your toothbrush into the toilet. And he goes, and you didn't tell me. Well, you had already started brushing your teeth with it by then, and I didn't want to. So she says, okay then, and walks off. And she's in his apartment, and she runs into his bathroom, locks the door. He goes, what are you doing? And she doesn't say anything. He goes, what are you doing? And he doesn't say anything. She goes, what are you doing? She unlocks the door, walks out. And she goes, I just put something of yours in the toilet, and walks out. And he literally goes through everything in his apartment, and he's like, I'm going to throw out everything I own and buy new stuff. and then finally they make up, and she goes, what did you put in my toilet, by the way? He goes, and she goes, toilet brush.
Oh.
Which was, just brilliant writing.
Now, I know John's got something up here to share.
I do. I do. I will post it to Stupid O'Clock later.
Okay.
The immovable ladder. Okay,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
from Wikipedia.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
For
Meets
whatever
the
reason.
insurmountable object. And Joe Bachman's got something flagged to pop up on screen too.
So one of the local company called the Spice Cabinet is getting some jars of honey from the Earthling Bee Company in Lowell, Indiana. They have partnered with the Indiana Whiskey Company to make
Oh
a
my
bourbon barrel
God.
aged pure honey.
Ooh, wow.
Mm.
I think we just found the replacement for maple syrup.
Oh, wait a minute, though. I have maple syrup that was aged in a barrel. I'm almost out of it. I'm very sad.
I'm curious because you know how honey is supposed to be an antibacterial?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know if it actually pulled anything from the bourbon out of the barrel to flavor the honey.
I would hope so.
That's
Well,
what
that's
it's
the
saying.
idea. But I'm very curious now.
It says it's the local wildflower honey,
Yeah.
aged in genuine bourbon barrels from their distillery, giving it a deep, smooth flavor with warm notes of oak, vanilla, and a touch of smokiness.
Mm.
I'm going to end up dropping $20 over there when they get it in stock, because I kind of want to try that.
Oh, and I was just reading something about that immovable ladder. Carl,
Mm-hmm.
various parts of the church are owned by the Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox Church, the Armenian Episcopalic Church, the Syriac Orthodox Church, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and the Coptic Orthodox Church.
Okay. I thought there were like 5 or 6, that are all in charge, and that's why they can't agree on anything.
And know what? Here's where the problem comes in. The ladder rests on a ledge and is attached to the right window of the second tier of the facade, owned by the Armenian Episcopalic Church.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is used as a symbol of interconfessional disputes within Christianity.
The thing is, the church, that ladder has been there before photography was invented, but there was a lithograph of the building, and it actually showed the ladder drawn in by the lithographer. So yeah, it's been there for ages. I'm worried about the day that one of the legs rots enough that it falls over. And
That would be classified as an act of God.
Yeah, it's just a good thing it's a desert environment. They don't get a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because some guy actually reached out the window. I don't know if he was a tourist or something. He reached out the window and grabbed that ladder, and he nearly caused a riot.
Yeah,
And,
that's why it's tied in place, actually. There are several theories regarding the original purposes of the ladder. One theory suggests that Armenian monks used the cornice and ladder to hoist water and provisions using a rope.
Oh.
This was done to avoid leaving the church and paying the entrance fee levied by the Ottoman authorities. So it was a tax dodge.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
On the left side of the entrance to the church, there was a sofa where Turkish guards were stationed. The entrance fee to the church, known as a kafar, amounted to 500 piasters, 5 Ottoman lira. So it would have cost them more to go in and out of the church than it would to buy the food. So
wow. Okay.
I shared the syrup. Who makes the syrup?
Yeah.
It's in the
Okay. Another theory suggests that it was a garden, that the ladder sitting on was a vegetable garden.
Mm.
And the monks used to grow vegetables out there. Because there are several pictures from ancient times that show plants out there on the ladder sticking up out of the back of them. And then there's a modern version, of course, that the ladder was used to access the cornice during religious festivals when a multitude of believers gathered in the churchyard, and was intended for use by the Palestine police force in the British Mandated Palestine.
Oh,
So they would, I guess, put snipers up there.
well, interesting.
Ladder on the outside of the building doesn't seem to me like a good position for a sniper.
No, well, they would apparently they
It's
would
up
put
high.
it out there on that corner because it's on a ledge that runs across the front of the building, so they could stand up there and look around the corners of the building and stuff.
They only need a ladder to crawl out the window and go down the ladder to get on this little walkway down there. But it's a landing, like a what do they call those? Like
Ledge.
a widow's walk sort of thing, you know?
Catwalk.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sort of.
All new cut. But apparently, they also during religious festivals they had like dozens of people out there on a little catwalk. So. Kind of looks like a Motley Crue concert.
It's a mighty big ledge.
They can go on and off, but they just can't move the ladder.
Just stay away from the tip.
I saw some footage of some of the things, and it's just hilarious to see priests of different religions taking slugs at each other physically. I'm like, really? Okay.
And this one was dates back to 1486.
Okay.
Okay, and then this one dates back to 1728.
Yeah, because the ladder's there. You can.
And this one dates back to 1881 to 1884. And there you can see the vegetables growing out on the ledge there.
Oh, okay.
You see here. And here's one of those religious festivals where, like I said, you see about 24 people sitting out there. And,
Hey.
and this is from 1890. Here's another picture of it from 1834 and 1728. And this one's from 1842 to 1849.
Yeah, I think that ladder has been out there before we were the United States.
That looks like a fairly modern ladder. That
I
is
think
not,
it might have been replaced.
and I didn't know the balcony had a ledge either.
Right, Fox.
Now there's a bucket list task for you: stealing a ladder.
Causing a war or two or six.
No, just let me see. What would be a good idea here? You steal the ladder, but you need to replace it with some religious art. Oh, there you go. Steal the ladder and replace it with the Shroud of Turin.
Well, first you got to steal the Shroud of Turin.
Well, you know, details.
Just
make
swap the two.
just make one and yeah.
Oh man,
We can just put Jeebus there.
yeah.
You guys don't know Jeebus.
Sounds like the next summer blockbuster heist movie to me.
No, you go to the thrift shop and get one of the little plastic Jesuses with the magnet on the bottom that you like. But I don't care if it rains or freezes.
Not me.
Plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car.
I'm just saying, not me. Okay, so one of you guys can write this whole story.
Now, wait a minute,
Carl.
Carl. Here's what's interesting. If we were to get the Greek Orthodox robes, Carl would fit right in.
Oh yeah,
because he's got the look and everything. Hey, there you go. At the top row of this rogues gallery is pretty much the people that I would have infiltrate. Okay.
Ocean's 4.
Holy sepulcher. We just
We're Ocean's 4.
I'm out.
every one of us. Okay, every one of us would wear a different outfit. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I got to
part
be.
of this plan.
Let me see. Let's see. I'm
Wait,
trying to
by
figure
the way, the screen, I did share the screen of the syrup. I was hoping somebody would at least pop it up for a second.
because you get the Greek guy, you get the. Ooh, that doesn't.
Ooh.
Sorghum syrup. Oh, speaking of sorghum syrup, interesting. There is a battlefield here not too far from me, Chickamauga Battlefield. It's a major Civil War battlefield. And they have this place up on Snodgrass Hill. Snodgrass Hill used to be a sorghum mill back there in that time frame. And to this day, the family that actually owns the property still goes out there and historically makes sorghum. And they actually, if you go in there during this right time of the year, you can watch them. They'll bring sorghum in and run it to the mill, and you can buy some of their sorghum. It's kind of interesting.
And the after the plants are processed, it can be bundled up into cattle feed.
Strangely enough, the pony that runs the sorghum mill gets to eat all the leftover sorghum mash.
Joey, you are a horrible person. But that's funny.
Wow.
Whoa, what happened?
Hey, Don, I was going to ask, is that maple syrup from Canada or is that American barrels?
It's the syrup itself is from Edelstein, which is just.
Is it American gallons or Canadian gallons?
Oh, that I don't know. I would assume the barrels are from Buffalo Trace, so I think that would be American.
Oh, that's American. Yeah. Yeah.
With all the flooding they've been going through, they probably want their barrels back.
Yeah.
Something to put under the trailers.
I will say that I have had Jim Beam had a maple out. I don't know if they still make it or not, but let's just say that drinking that straight out of the bottle is probably not the wisest decision.
I went down to help clean out my dad's apartment when he died, and he had a bottle in his pantry of bourbon flavored maple syrup.
Ooh.
Hadn't been opened yet either, so I brought it home. I was sitting down there. I haven't done anything.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm thinking about doing the candied bacon.
Yeah.
So, Joey, how about I get you guys a bottle of the syrup and you get me a bottle of the honey?
Ooh.
That could probably be arranged, but they didn't say how many they were getting in of the honey. And I'm willing to bet from the comments that I saw, it's going to go quickly.
First come, first serve. You just got to get there early.
Hey, guys, I hate to cut this off, but somebody does have to work tomorrow morning, and it's not me.
Well, do we have to cut off anyway because it's 9:30 or?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is Dan's show. This ain't Joe listening out going to bed.
I was going to say, whip out your sock before you go.
Well, I'll whip out my sock for you anytime, Carl. See, here's my sock.
Thank you.
But this Joe is also going to wimp out because I've been up since 5 a.m. since I had a report this morning. So,
yeah,
you're damn right.
I woke up at 5 a.m. too. That's odd. Yeah.
We'll hopefully see some of you tomorrow at NTF and see some of you tomorrow night in the green room. So have a good evening, everybody.
Night, Dawn. Nice.
Night, Dawn.
It should be illegal to have to drive 40 minutes directly into the sun after you wake up.
Oh yeah.
Should be, but it ain't.
Yeah. But
That's why you need driving instruments, like planes have instrument landings and whatnot. You don't have to look out the windshield. You just watch the little black box on the dash.
Yeah, Tesla, I'd be able to do that. But anyway, Good night, folks.
Night.
Good night. Oh. Oh, that felt good.
Hi, Callie.
A couple weeks ago, I went to Food Line. Food Line had pork loins on sale. So I bought a pork loin and brought it home. And I cut it into 3 sections. I made 3 roasts out of it. Pulled one out earlier this week. And I am doing the margarita grilled pork roast.
Oh,
Yeah. Has a quarter cup of tequila in it, 2 cups of lime juice, olive oil, salt, and some other oregano and some other things. But it's been marinating for 2 days. As of about right now, it's been 48 hours that it's been marinating. So anyway, I got to go down and make the rub that goes on it. The rub is like brown sugar, sea salt, lime zest. You make some lime zest, oregano, and some other stuff. And then I'm gonna slow roast it. Sheesh.
nice.
I'm trying to figure out some good rice. I'm trying to find an unusual rice dish to go with it. So can't remember. I think last time I did yellow rice. I think I may go get some long grain rice, or I'm going to try and find a rice recipe to go with it. So something unusual.
Sounds good.
Yep, Foxy, we try to be right. I mean, that's like when Joe, when we first started this show, Stupid O'Clock, it was because COVID-19 had come out. Nobody was going to any of the sci-fi conventions. And these were literally the conventions, or these were the conversations that we would have at the science fiction, fantasy, whatever conventions. After the programming was done, people be sitting around the hotel lobby or up in the bar or in the room parties or whatever and just shooting a breeze. And that's what
At
this
Halicon, we don't even wait until the the programming's over. Sorry.
It's still warm enough to go outside.
Let's go.
Yeah, for those of you who are watching, I don't know how many people are watching that have never been to Halicon. The weather is really good for Halicon. I mean, it's not too hot and it's not too cold. So it's late October. So it's, you can get by with a sweatshirt. So
You can get by with a sweatshirt.
Well, he wasn't drinking that cold beer.
Yes, I was. But
yeah, eventually, yeah. I think we started quite early, and
when I work at conventions and stuff like that, you won't see me drink very much.
Right.
When I'm not on duty, you'll have to step over me to get to the beer. So.
No problem. It's not even a challenge.
It's kind of funny. I went to Outside Con with Joe last year and was running the bar at the outside, the Halicon party at Outside Con. And people kept bringing me stuff to drink, and I was drinking beer while I was running the bar, but that was it. Beer and Gatorade.
Yeah.
Of course, I did have to bring my own beer. I bought a couple 12 packs of Land Shark, and everybody loves Land Shark.
Oh.
It's such a good summertime beer.
I don't think I've ever had Land Shark.
Really, it's the Margaritaville Brewing Company. It's Jimmy Buffett's bought into it. Yeah. So, but it's got a really interesting taste. It's not too bitter. It's a little sweet. It's not too sweet, but it's a good cold. It's a good hot weather beer. So,
okay. Is one of those that like tastes a little bit like lemonade, like the
no,
shandy?
Doesn't have any. It's beer. It's just a sweeter beer. It's not.
Okay. Fewer hops then.
If you ever had Pabst Blue Ribbon in a can,
yeah,
that's what the keg that Joe got for Halicon was Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, just a little sweeter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know all about PBR and Old Milwaukee because I used to work in a factory.
Oh, yeah.
And then Budweiser got cheap, and everybody switched over.
Mm.
I'm going, nah, not for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. When I was growing up in Red Bank, Tennessee, the cheap and everybody started drinking beer. The cheapest beer we had back then was Schaefer's.
Ooh.
Yeah, there are several brands just like that are, shall we say that
the aluminum can it came in was worth more than a beer. So,
pretty much.
My dad used to get Schlitz and Blatz, and those are pretty good. He'd share a little bit in a Dixie cup with us as kids. They were German, so what the hell.
There's one, and it's kind of funny. It's an American beer, but I didn't start drinking it until I was stationed in Germany.
Mm.
And for some reason, every time the Americans would host a party for the Germans, this was one of the beers that they would serve. It was Mickey's Malt Liquor.
Okay.
Oh God, I've seen that on shelves.
Hang on a minute. Let me. Which is not. It's not a bad beer. It was just unusual.
Mm.
There it is. And there's actually a beer store here in town that sells it. Wrong button. Mickey Malt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sure I've had that before somewhere.
Possibly. It comes in the little short bottles, and their mascot's a little yellow jacket because it'll sting the hell out of it. Let's see. Yeah,
the little short squat bottles.
Yeah, exactly. And the bottles are cute, but they also have a plastic bottle that ought to tell you something. There you go. Get stuck.
Okay.
And strangely enough, every so often I will be sitting here craving a beer, and I just, for some reason, I'll start craving those. And of course, the store's on the other side of Georgia from where I'm at. So,
The good thing about those, the little squat ones with the wide mouth, is as you're leaving the bar, you can take the bottle with you. And a lot of times they'll say, "When are you taking the bottle?" I'm like, "I'm taking it out back. I'm going to refill it. Leave me alone."
One thing I actually miss a lot is nowadays it's really hard to find a non-imported dark beer.
Yeah.
We used to have a restaurant in town here in Chattanooga called Big River Grill and Brewing Works, and they had at one time, I think they had 7 different beers that they kept on tap, and one of them they were all train themed beers because it's Chattanooga. And they had this one called Iron Horse Stout. It was better than Guinness. Of course, the American Guinness sucks.
Yeah.
Well, American Guinness, yeah.
One of the breweries in the U.S. made a dark beer, and I'm trying to think of who it was. It was a Bock beer of some sort, and it was pretty good.
Back when I was in college in the late 70s, they had it on tap in the pizza place that the Sci-Fi Club went to after meetings. Oh, it was gorgeous. And it was not an import. It was an American beer.
Yeah. You don't remember the brand, though?
I've been told several different brands when I asked. So that conflicting information. So I do not know.
Okay. Let me tell you, this is from mybartender.com.
Oh, okay.
He's got the 12 best dark beers to drink. And I think most of these are American.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Bell's Expedition Stout is their
I would try that.
Zero Gravity Extra Stout. Let's see. Sprecher Brack Bavarian, which is apparently it's a dark lager. And then Deutsches Black Butte Porter.
Oh, we may have had that one in the German.
It seemed the bottle does look familiar. Let's see, North Coast Old Rasputin.
Rasputin, huh? Okay.
Copyright strike.
Alaskan Smoked Porter. Young's Double Chocolate Stout. I'm not a big chocolate beer fan.
No.
Another German contender or German style contender is Eyinger Altbarisch Dukel.
I'm glad you said that. I wouldn't be able to figure out how.
I spent enough time drinking beer in Germany. That's one thing I can pronounce. Is let's see. Jack's Abbey Smoke and Dagger.
I haven't heard of most of these.
And then here low on the list is Guinness, and like I said, American Guinness sucks.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Brevis Brewing Oatmeal Stout.
Ooh, I've had that. It's good.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous.
Okay.
I was actually trying to figure out, and they don't have an address for that one. Let me see here, and that's all of them.
Wow, most of them sound either newish or what are they called, microbrewery type.
I wanted to take up beer brewing, but that's a lot of.
That is a lot of work for very little reward.
It's not the work; it's the space.
Yeah.
You just can't do that right anywhere.
So you got to stick it in your closet for like a month or so, and yeah.
Now, if I had a cave in the backyard or something like that,
oh yeah, I could do it in my basement, I suppose.
There are two types of basic yeast used in beer. You get your standard yeast, which everyone uses for bread and whatever else. And somewhere down the line, the Germans found a type of yeast that would convert sugars to alcohol without heat. They could do it in the cold.
Oh.
Okay. And that is where they got the lager beers. Because everything up until then was ales.
Yeah.
But you had to have a certain amount of heat to make ale. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Lager beers you could make in the winter because they had their cold storage areas for their houses where they would keep all the food cold.
Yeah.
And they could keep the beer in there to brew because of this yeast that would work in the cold. And the little cave or whatever they had for keeping their food cold was called a lager. And that's where they get the term lager beer.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where Donna, you remember the Maybach beer we had in the German restaurant? It's a special beer that's ready in May, and you better drink it fast because it's, by the next month they're out. But it was so nice and sweet. It was like eating a loaf of homemade bread. When you drank that beer, it's like, what does this taste like?
There was a training area in Germany, Wildflecken training area, which is a big. There were 3 big training areas, and that was one of them. And because we were stationed in Berlin, we couldn't fire any of the heavy weapons because they didn't have a range for it in Berlin. So we'd have to travel by train to Wildflecken, take all our equipment with us, set up shop, and go to their ranges to shoot heavy weapons. And right outside Wildflecken is a monastery. And the monks that run the monastery make beer.
Oh yeah.
And they had a beer hall in the bottom of the monastery, and soldiers could go out there and have a little party, but you had to be on your best behavior. But boy, that was some good beer.
Monks either tend to make beer or they make this horrible cough syrup type of stuff. I mean, there's just no in between. There's no in between with those guys.
Oh, but there was this movie. It's a horrible movie, but I love watching it. Is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Kevin Costner stars as Robin Hood. Which, but unlike some Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent. But
That was a different movie entirely.
But I loved the guy that played Friar Tuck in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because there's that great line he did about, says, "This is grain, which any fool can make into bread." But to which God had a higher purpose. Let us give thanks for beer. Yeah.
Oh, John, look up Winkle's Old Peculiar. It's a British brand,
Okay, it's not
and
a
Monty Python made a whole skit around it. And Eric Idle was just putting it down like it was the British redneck version of beer.
Well, while you're all doing that, I'm going to say goodnight because I've been up since 5 too. And
you can't last 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Is that all we have left?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the whole show.
9 more minutes, cats. Okay. I can do. I'll just
getting
crawl shelf and
just crawl into
say,
that.
I need to dust my shelf. But
Holy Grail Ale.
Oh wow.
and that was the second batch. This was the first batch,
Wow.
and this was the second batch.
Wow.
And I have not been any place that sold this to see if they've ever come out with another batch.
Huh.
Yes.
Now, I used to be able to find the Winkle's Old Peculiar in import beer shops in Athens back when I was in college. I have yet to see it since then, but it was in this little keg-shaped bottle.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember whether it was a red-colored beer or a dark brown. It didn't taste bad. I mean, it wasn't the best beer I ever had, but it didn't taste bad.
Now,
But
go ahead.
go ahead.
That original Holy Grail Ale, the first batch, the main reason I bought it, it came with.
Oh, you found it.
Yes.
You found it. All right.
Doesn't look like a cup of a carpenter.
Not really.
You need to lock that away before the government comes looking for it.
I do actually have a Holy Grail in my, and
As I recall, we have a Holy Grail shaped spotlight on the roof of the nunnery.
Oh yeah, you want the Holy Grail? I think we got one.
it's the Holy Grail shaped spotlight. There we go. Okay.
I'm not going to quote any more from that particular movie. Thank you. The obvious lines have leapt to mind.
Yeah.
Brother Maynard, bring out the holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that one I could go to. It doesn't have anything to do with the spankings or the other things the nuns wanted.
If Carol Cleveland came up and wanted, yeah. I think she's still around too.
Haven't the faintest idea.
She's probably like 73 now, something.
That's not much older than you.
Well, yeah, that's true. I was telling Donna something the other day. I said, this older woman was in line, and she looks at me, and I'm like, okay, she's slightly older than us.
Ooh, she's 83.
Okay, I was gonna look her up, and you did already. Okay, 83. Dang.
1942.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to give her spanking now. You'd probably break her hip.
Oh,
I now have charcoal on my lap and two other cats wrestling.
trying to herd you to bed.
Uh-huh.
Well, we've only got 5 minutes left. They'll just have to be patient.
I can do it.
The
Yeah, since when did you ever hear of it? Pardon me. Since when have you ever heard of a patient cat?
depends. I mean, I've seen some cats just sit there patiently and stare at hamsters.
Mhm.
Our local public works department came through a while back, and they changed out all the street lights in our neighborhood from the old big globe glass thing, with the changed them out to LEDs,
Ah.
and they all have shields on them. When it's been raining all day, so right now it's real foggy in my neighborhood. So it's kind of weird. We've got these weird LED glowing fog effects underneath all these lamps. And it looks like there's a flying saucer landing about half a block down from my house. And somebody, I have my windows open. The air's so great tonight because of the rain. There's no pollen or anything like that. Temperature's nice.
Well,
But except for the UFO down by my neighbor's house, everything's fine.
They're coming for you.
Now, does that put out a lot of light? Because I had heard complaints from people saying they didn't like the light out of there.
That's why they put that shield around it so it wouldn't shine in people's windows.
Oh.
But that's what makes it look really freaky too, because it's like you expect to see cows being lifted up into the it's kind of funny. There was there's that big news. They were trying to get some tourists to show up in Tulsa, or not Tulsa. What's the Arizona? What's the name of this? Tucson. They were trying to get a bunch of tourists to show up in Tucson, Arizona. So they started this thing about the UFO. All these people saw UFOs in and around Tucson, Arizona. It was all over the news for months. Every conspiracy theory TV show was like, UFOs spotted in Tucson. And the thing was, if you don't know what they were freaky as hell. Just like, oh my God, what is it? But if you know what they were, if you were in the military and you've ever seen an artillery unit shoot artillery flares,
Oh, yeah.
everybody in the military that saw this was like, those are artillery flares. But everybody else, oh my God, we're being visited from another world. And it's like,
The same thing happened down in Phoenix. Because that's not that far away. But yeah,
No.
Phoenix had the same.
was it the Phoenix? Yeah, the Phoenix lights. That may be
Oh,
the one.
okay. The Phoenix Lights, yeah.
Which I'm not sure which military post it was that was doing the exercise or whatever. And I'm not sure if it's actually the artillery parachute flares or the ones aircraft drop. They used to have, you've heard of gunships, the AC-130 gunship and stuff like that. Well, they used to also have them drop flares. They call them flare ships. And they would fly over and drop flares and target the enemy, fun stuff like that. Battlefield illumination. And but I'm sitting here watching this. I'm going, those are parachute flares. I mean, they're big ones. I mean, that's why they lasted so long. The bigger they are, the bigger the flare, the longer they last, the bigger the parachute, fun stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh, it's a flying saucer. They were moving really, really fast. No, they weren't.
Yeah.
would have been a heavy wind today.
It is, the desert. They do get a pretty good wind at night.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Okay.
people were just looking at them. What they were
About
probably,
10 seconds.
good night, everybody.
Yep. Time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Bye, everybody.
I see
Good
y'all.
night, everybody. 2 hours on the dot.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. 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 System will shut down.